I mean, look, it's enough to make me want to rip my head off. You need to have people who work for you. You say, look, I can actually exchange more with you. For the more you put into this position, the more you'll take home. You'll beat inflation. You'll beat higher taxes at home. I'd rather give you more money than hire more people. Everybody, welcome back to part 4 of our 4-part series on hiring. And this part, we're going to talk about the close. This is where most people get nervous, and this is where the ball gets dropped most often. The rest of it's pretty mechanical and pretty conversational and engaging and fun and exciting, actually. Getting to meet new people, bring them into your company culture, get them excited and motivated to want to work with you guys and align with your purpose, and you're doing good deeds and you want to make these good deeds well known that everyone's growing and flourishing and prospering together. That's the attitude and the mental motivation you should have when you're actually communicating with your new hire or prospective new hire. The problem is many of you guys going in with this degree of desperation, like, oh, I need her, or I need him, or I've had this empty spot forever, or I have a revolving front desk and it's really affecting my market. All of that may be true, but acting out of a sense of desperation, or even thinking that in your head and saying that in your head is going to be expressed with the person and the candidate you're trying to close. Throwing more money at them, trying to sweeten the pot is going to make you look desperate. So go in firm with what you believe is most needed and wanted to fill this position and align with your company culture and fairness to others and your marketplace and the business that you are managing, right? Whether you're the clinical manager or the owner. So that comes down to the close. Here's important rule number 1, tip number 1 for the close. And as you know, we've been training thousands of PT owners across the country, going all the way back to 2006. And so we have lots of experience and feedback from people as to what works. This isn't Brian Gallagher's bright idea. Check out my website and just, Brian was practice of the year and this is what he did, so do that. That is not my attitude. We are coaches, not consultants. And coaches are going to use their knowledge and experience to enable you to play a better game. And so here's the first thing that I know. The first tip for your success in doing the close. Never give a concession without getting a concession. Okay? I don't fault the applicant when they say, yes, I love it here. I'd love to see if we can make ends meet and bridge the gap and work out the finer details of this position. And if it works for me, works for you, I'm ready to sign on and accept this position today or by sometime tomorrow. If in fact that is the case, then you should be able to just sit down and chat with them and say, okay, well, the pay for this position is this, and always know in your head that you have a $5,000 buffer. $5,000 is about $96 a week, and you're not going to lose somebody over $96 a week. That's ridiculous. So be prepared to throw $5,000 up or down, whatever, I guess. Down would be great if that happened, but that's not your motivation either. So just know what you're willing to do financially for this position, right? Just have that in mind. If somebody hears the salary, let's say you're like, yeah, it's a $75,000 position and we have Blue Cross Blue Shield and 3 healthcare options. We pay 50% of the benefits and our Con Ed is $1,500 a year and blah, 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 blah. And you just state what you know your benefit package is. We expect 40, this is tip 2, we expect 40 treatment hours in the books. I am not hiring somebody to treat 36 hours a week and then paying them to do their notes. I'm sorry, where did we mess up in PT School 101? Notes is part of the visit. I am paying you for the documentation. That is part of the visit. The visit doesn't stand on its own. It's not a visit if the documentation is not done. So why am I paying extra for documentation? It's kind of like being the guy who sweeps the streets. I guess this is a bad example. And he's charging you for having to get the broom out of the closet. Well, you can't sweep the streets without having the broom in your hand. Well, I got to walk over to the closet. That's ridiculous, right? This is crazy. So don't get into this trap of paying people for documentation time. You must make this all-encompassing salaried position, right? And I was saying tip number 1 was don't give a concession without getting concession. Well, I had to tell you about the schedule because oftentimes somebody will say, well, hey, is there any way I can get more money for this same position? And 75,000 is not enough. That's what I'm making now. I was hoping to make a movement upward and coming over here. Well, I do have in my budget that we can go as high as 80 for this position, but instead of 2 closing evenings till 7, where you take your last patient at 6, you walk out at 7, instead of 2 closing evenings, you're going to have to take 3. If you take 3, I can actually get you that $80,000. And the person's like, okay, yeah, that's good. It's great. Or I need you to be a senior clinician where you're mentoring our junior people. Or I need you to be, on the marketing team where you're contributing once a month to the marketing team and going out and doing a public event with the marketing team because you're so outgoing and so verbal and so what. Assess who's in front of you and think of the concessions that you can get. So that they're just not picking you apart looking for more and more for themselves, but you're not getting something in return. So that's a very important concept. I'm willing to listen to anybody and adjust and compensate them for something that's important. I need more vacation time than this, or I need more Con Ed than this, or I need to make more money than this. Fine, but what is it you're willing to do in return for that? It can't just be because you're here breathing and taking up oxygen. That's not going to cut it for me, right? I have an idea of what every position is worth based on its ability to produce and be efficient. So let's keep that in mind. Second one was schedule. I said they have to be 40 treatment hours. So in the close, that's my next tip. My next tip is, out of this whole 4-part series, the absolute best thing I can coach you to do is hire people on a pay-for-performance model. We have a pay-for-performance model for all clinical staff, and we can actually custom build and develop it for all non-clinical staff. The world is changing. You probably already noticed it's changed already. You cannot, in my opinion, survive the next 10 years in physical therapy private practice with a salary plus benefits model because you're accepting all of the ups and downs and goods and bads of what goes on in the course of that year. And you're also putting yourself in a position where you're going to have to nudge people to increase their level of performance just to keep par with inflation, just to keep par with reduced reimbursement, increase productivity and efficiency levels, increase regulation, taxes. I mean, look, it's enough to make me want to rip my head off. You need to have people who work for you. You say, look, I can actually exchange more with you for the more you put into this position, the more you'll take home. You'll beat inflation. You'll beat higher taxes at home. I'd rather give you more money than hire more people. So the pay for performance model is going to compensate you not based on hustle. That's the shared risk model that others talk about, which I would never put in a shared risk model. It's a pay for performance. I am going to be able to exchange in abundance with you more in financial terms based on productivity increasing, efficiency increasing, quality increasing. All of those components get factored into our pay for performance model. It is probably one of the most desired things people want to learn from us, and they buy our systems of operation program just to get that. Most everybody just gets the platinum package. You can see it on our website. All of our pricing is there. It's fully transparent. Every single program and course is there, broken out into little paragraph forms to tell you what you're going to get. They'll get the platinum package because it's all 5 divisions and all the file vault, well over 200 handouts and materials, full policy and procedure manual for your benefit. So in the close, you need to know what people are looking for. They're looking for a concession, get one in return. They're looking to try and work less and get paid more. No, you're going to be treating 40 hours and documentation is included. And make sure that you give them a sky's the limit opportunity with a pay for performance model so that they can bring more home for working harder and being more dedicated and loyal to your group. They're going to look, the most upbeat, uptone, motivated employees you'll ever have in your practice are those that are the most busy. Busy bees are motivated people. They're highly motivated people and they do very, very well. So let's make sure that you understand that concept and you encourage that. Doing more with fewer people is always a better solution. Always, always a better solution. The next thing in the close. Here's a little secret. Have you ever had somebody accept the position from you and then they go and tell their employer that they're resigning and they found this new job? The employer throws money on the table at them and then they call you up and say, I'm not taking the position, I decided to stay. Has that ever happened to you? Look, when you make the offer and everything's good and they're in the moment and they're like, done, I'm in, I'm ready to leave, I'm taking this position. You extend your hand over here and you have them shake your hand like, yes, press the flesh. It's more meaningful, it's more bond. They say, I'm accepting, welcome aboard, great. And then you do 2 things right after that. You say, I am so excited to have you on board. The very first thing you should have as an expectation is what you should expect of me. Now, this is weird and foreign because most employees are ready to come into orientation and hear what you expect of them. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I need you to perform here, perform there. You're going to jump out in front of that and you're going to say, this is what you should expect from me. That I exceed your expectations in creating a company culture in which you can thrive both personally and professionally, to the degree that you look back at this moment in time and you say to yourself, or you say to your spouse, or you say to your family members or friends, this was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life, because I've not only grown professionally, I've also grown personally as a person. They've really invested in me as a human being. That's what we're all about here. That's what this practice is about, and that's what you can expect as you put your time in here. That is going to send them home ready to go out to dinner and rejoice with their spouse because they just made a really great decision. The second thing you have to cover with them is, now, when you go back to your employer and you resign, as you know, they're going to be -1 therapist or -1 front desk coordinator. And good chances are they're going to throw money at you to keep you to stay. Try to get you to stay, is what I meant to say. Now, I can't speak for you. This is me just role-playing it with you right now. I'm just pretending like you're the applicant. And I'm going to say the applicant. I can't speak for you, and I don't know how you're going to look at that, but I can tell you how I would look at that. If it were me and my employer was ready to throw $10,000 or $5,000 down for me to stay, I would have to cross my arms and lean forward and just say, so for how long have you been underpaying me? How long have you been getting a bargain on me? Because if at this moment I'm saying I'm just going to go do this somewhere else and now you want me to stay, and now all of a sudden I'm worth 5 or 10 grand more to you, how long have you felt like that? And you've just kept it to yourself. I'm just curious. I'm just wondering how much back pay I'm actually due, right? I mean, I'm not sure they're going to say that. But that's kind of like the attitude you want to have. Like, what do you mean you're going to throw? Now, people will say, Brian, you mean you never threw money at somebody to get them to stay? I'm like, no, I've never thrown money at people to get them to stay. I will throw more opportunity at them. I'm like, well, I didn't know you wanted to be a clinical director. If you needed to make an extra 10 grand a year, clinical director is the way to go. You never verbalized that. I just never thought you were interested in it. My faux pas. Sorry about that. Let's talk that. Let's talk about that. Or I didn't know you wanted to be a senior clinician. You want to teach more, or do this or do that. I will surely work with them to develop a more robust position for them to get more money and stay with me. Absolutely, I'll hunt that down. Most people are leaving for a reason such as that. But if somebody's just leaving to make a lateral move doing the same thing they're doing here, and I don't feel like they're qualified or capable to do anything greater or bigger in my group, I'm not going to throw more money just to keep them to stay. I'm just buying a problem. That is exactly what you're going to get, because if in fact things weren't all rosy for them, why did they come to you and say, you know what, I have a little bit of an issue with this and this and this, and if we can resolve it and I can actually get over it, I'd love to stay here. I love it here. I'd like the people here. But if not, I'm totally happy searching the job market and throwing my resume out there and seeing where else I can go. Why don't people have the gall, the backbones, I was going to say some other body part, to actually come and talk to their employer and talk about their position and talk about how they feel about their position, talk about what their needs and wants are? Why don't we have that? And honestly, if you don't have that, that's on you. Now, you should be reaching out to your employees every single month on 10-minute meetings. That's another way you get to keep people so you don't have a revolving door. 10-minute meetings allows them to air their laundry so that problems don't become big problems. They become little nuisances, and then you clean them up. You won't have employees doing that to you if you have that kind of company culture and that kind of personnel management. That's what we teach. That's what we coach. That's how you're going to keep yourself off the lines of hiring, finding people all the time. Tip 5, 6, 7, whatever we're on right now. Always be running ads. You should have 2 or 3 files deep for every position in your practice. So I know this is about the close, and I gave you some good successful tips on that, but one of the ways you're going to look really good and stay out of trouble is by always having people interested in wanting to come work for you. So get out there and get advertising and get negotiating and recruiting for positions before you even need them. And if somebody can come in and hire, then increase your necessity level, build up your market, and get them hired in addition to the existing staff. But we like sending that message to the existing staff that, we need everybody to be on their A game because we're always looking to hire the best and the brightest. So, we're always looking, and we're always bringing people in. We're always growing and expanding, because that's my job as CEO, is to expand and scale, right? So there are some good tips on the close. I hope that really helps you. Making that bond, shaking their hand, concession with a concession. Talk to them about what their employer is going to do when they resign. Work things out so that they're on a pay-for-performance model whenever possible. So there's my tips for success. I am literally pulling data right out of our Executive Master's curriculum, sharing it with you here on YouTube. These are snippets, tidbits. If you like this, you can use it, it, great. Pirate all of it. But if you really want to be the person who's sitting in a position of knowledge where you know what you need to know in advance of needing to know it, like you don't wait until you run into the problems and then you're trying to claw your way out while you're running a business and trying to learn, like, what should I have done different, or how should I have done it different? How could I have avoided this problem? Look, join us. We are PTs helping PTs. Join our group. Come into Meg Academy. Get the training. Get the materials. Get the role plays, the quizzes, the assignments, the web-based knowledge that you need, the unlimited coaching 24/7, and free Brian Gallagher time with me, 15 minutes or less whenever you need it, so that you are performing as the top-level professional athlete in private practice that you know you can be. That is my goal for you. That is my hope for you. I hope you like this message. Check out the podcast. Check out our website. Let's see how we can work together and help you have one of those practices that's in the top 10%.